All right, hello friends. Welcome back to lesson 2 of our vegan baking basics. So today we are going to make vegan chocolate cake. It is one of my favorite recipes, as you can see by the ingredient lineup that we got here. It's all very basic stuff that everyone should have at home. Just, usual suspects: flour, cocoa, sugar. Got some milk with vanilla in here, oil, vinegar, very basic stuff, and you don't need any special equipment. So it's very handy if you have a very minimal kitchen and you're just starting out with your baking. The other reason I like this recipe is that you can make it in any pan you like, whether that's regular cake pan, a bundt pan. You can make it into cupcakes. It's very easy and very forgiving. So let's get started and let's make some cake. Alright guys, and that is it. Our cake batter is ready. As far as baking, like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a pick your own adventure, pick your own pan situation. So I am going to be using two 8-inch cake pans just because I want a regular standard stacked cake, but you do have options. So you could do a bundt pan. This is super forgiving, and if you make it into a bundt pan, you don't even have to worry about frosting. You can just do a light dusting of powdered sugar, and that's really all you need to make it pretty and presentable. You could easily turn this into, a dozen cupcakes, or you could even do muffins, and again, not bother with the frosting and just do powdered sugar and call it a day. Super, super easy. Another thing when it comes to cakes is greasing the pan is super important. So this is what I use. This is just baking sprays from Aldi, but any store kind of has their own version. The important part is that you have to make sure that it says it has flour in it. This way you don't have to do the old-fashioned buttering and flouring the pan. You can just do a quick spray of this, and I haven't had any issues. It works really well every time. So make sure you spray your pans first before you transfer your cake batter in there. All right, and then now just a few last minute tips and tricks with this cake. So you may have noticed there is no sort of egg replacer in here. And what I'm doing is I'm using the baking soda with the vinegar to act as our leavening agent. So as far as the vinegar, I really recommend just regular old distilled white vinegar. It is like 89 cents at the store. Works extremely well in this recipe. It is acidic enough to activate the baking soda, but it's not so acidic that it will cause your cake to overflow everywhere. I've had some readers ask me, hey, I don't have any white vinegar at home. Can I just use apple cider vinegar instead? The answer is yes, but be very cautious. So the times that I've used apple cider vinegar, my cake without fail boils over the pan and explodes everywhere. So the apple cider vinegar I think is just more acidic than the white vinegar. So I recommend using less. If all you have in the house is apple cider vinegar, instead of doing the 4 tablespoons of vinegar, which is 1/4 cup, I would do maybe 2 tablespoons. So dial it back and that should still work. But again, I caution you because every time I've used it, my cake explodes. So word of caution for you there. Then speaking of frosting, so this is the same recipe that I taught you in lesson 1. The only thing I changed is I added a few tablespoons of the cocoa powder to make it chocolate. And then I added a couple of spoonfuls of non-dairy milk just to help it all come together. So the recipe for the frosting is still the same basic recipe from lesson 1. I just added some cocoa and turn it into chocolate frosting. So that's kind of the point of this whole series, is show you how easy it is to change the recipes based on what you need them to do. I think that's it, but if you guys have any other questions, of course, please leave me a comment. I am always happy to help, and happy baking!